Good afternoon, Dr. Lee, Professor Chen, Professor Xi, Ms. Chen, and Mr. Ng, and our distinguished guests. Welcome to the opening ceremony of Natural World Cultural Elegance, a photography exhibition by Tima Lee. I am Li Meiyi. I am the founding president of HKUST Art Club, and I am from the School of Business and Management. I'm the MC today. Before we start our official ceremony, I'd like to briefly introduce to you our artist, Dr. Tima Lee. As you know, Dr. Lee is the grand prize winner of the highly regarded Nature's Best Photography Windland Smith Prize International Competition in 2013. Out of 25,000 centuries from 50 countries. Before that, he has also won the Top 10 award from the North American Nature Photography Association, also called NAMPA. And his photo, Fish and the Bear Claw, which is shown over there in the middle, was chosen as the cover for the NAMPA Context magazine Expressions, among his many awards and publications in magazines and newspapers. His winning photo for NAMPA was the first ever photograph in the contest history that has received full score from all judges. Dr. Lee was raised and educated in Hong Kong. He had attained 10 A's in Hong Kong Certificate of Education examinations and received a full scholarship to study at UCLA. With a PhD degree in biomedical engineering, specializing in imaging and image processing, he now manages a medical imaging data center in California. Dr. Lee developed a deep love of animals at a young age. 6 years ago, he rediscovered his passion for wildlife through photography. Combining technology and creativity, he creates images that are both artistic and have never been shown before. These photographs are set to tell stories, rekindling our love for natural world and reminding us to protect it. We're extremely honored to have the opportunity to stage an exhibition of photographs of Dr. Lee at our library. Now, without further ado, let me invite Professor Chen, President of HKUST, to come forward and give a welcome address. Professor Chen.
Thank you very much, and it's a great sight here to see so many people here. Sometimes I come to introduce exhibitions at the library. Most of the time, in fact, almost all the time, it's the first time I meet the artist. Typically, I'm not in the arts field. I love having arts on campus. I think this is very much part of HKUST's education philosophy. But this time, actually, is an exception because I actually know the artist. In fact, we've known each other for a long time. He was my PhD student, it turns out. So, but that's not the reason he's here, okay? Let me be very clear. In fact, let me explain how this came about, this exhibition. Tinman graduated from UCLA with a PhD under my supervision. How many years ago? Maybe not quite 10, but almost 10 years ago. Okay, and he went on and worked for Amgen, and many of you know, one of the biggest genomics-based pharmaceutical company in Los Angeles. So he was working, and we keep in touch. And I forgot, 2 years ago or a year ago, he told me, I just won this big prize. Can you come to the exhibition? And I said, what prize? What are you doing? Where is this exhibition? And he said, well, photography. And I didn't know he was interested in photography. And it turns out it's a new interest for him. I said, where is it? Well, it's in the Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. I lived in D.C. for 3 years, and I used to go there all the time. And this is like a shrine, this is in the National Mall, you can see the Capitol, the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial is right there. And I said, really? That's the place. In fact, he then sent me an email with a photograph and his picture. In fact, that picture, if I remember, right? The bear thing, one of these pictures, was hanging on the outside of this museum. I don't know what's the size. It's a huge building. It's hanging on the outside. Probably one of the few times where a Hong Kong-born person has a banner up on that museum in his history. So I said, I want to come, I want to come. I feel like almost a parent, that I am so proud. And in fact, I was in D.C. actually, very close to that time. I was visiting the National Academy and all that. But it turns out I missed it by like 2 weeks. I cannot really stay in D.C. for 3 weeks. So I said, okay, maybe let me introduce you to my provost, because Professor Wei Shi is standing right there, the tall fellow there. Because many of you, some of you know, but many of you probably do not know, he is also an avid amateur photographer, and he combines his professional field, which is aerodynamics, with his hobby. I say hobby, but it's almost, professional. So he shoots birds, taking off, flying, landing, and all that. So, it's a combination. I said, Tim, I call him Tim. Tim, you got to meet my provost because you have a kindred spirit in each other, I think. So then they came, they met each other online, I forgot, and next thing I know, the library is hosting this this exhibition. I think it's a great opportunity. As you probably heard the introduction, it turns out Tim and I went to the same high school. Well, of course, we did not overlap. So I can guarantee you, I was not a 十優狀元. When I was barely able to get into QC. Okay, and he was a 狀元. But I think one theme I want to point out, and that is I always tell my own kids, students in general, no matter what you study, you got to pursue your passion. Sometimes what you study is your passion, but very often your passion is bigger than what you study. Okay, I think both in our provost and Timman's case, that turns out to be the case. Okay, so it's even better if you can combine your professional passion with your amateur passion, and which is the case here. And when you do that, there's no limit as to what you can achieve. In a way, I think in Timman's case, the achievement in his hobby, in some sense, is even bigger than his professional achievement. Although, he's a long time to go. Okay, he's running a big medical imaging center in one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies. So, there's a way to go. But he's not the CEO of Amgen yet. Okay, so don't stop short of that. Okay, so anyway, combining these two is great. But he actually, if I understand, he actually uses his technical knowledge of image processing. Am I right? He will be able to post-process the images and so on. So those of you who are students, keep that in mind. Now, you will see a few pictures in here, but I tell you, there's the story behind every picture. Okay, I asked Timman a little bit about how do you do that thing? How far away are you away from the bear? Okay, did you have a gun with you? What if well, actually, it turns out he was pretty close. I mean, you will give a talk tonight on some of these, so I don't want to give out all your secrets. Okay, but for those of you who are interested, Timman has a website, a blog, a website where he actually writes about his photograph. I think probably there's some of the writings here. And I urge you to read those writings, because the writing is very much part of the exhibition, because it sort of captures what he was thinking about, or his planning, or his view of what these pictures mean to him. And the other thing I urge you to do if you go to the website is to read what the readers' comments say. But many of those are professional photographers, okay? And it's interesting to read what they say. If I remember one, okay, I remember one very clearly, because this is a person who's a professional photographer. He said, "Tim, why are you wasting your time in Amgen?" Literally, right? He's one of the top photographers. He said, "Your talent is in photography. Why don't you just pursue?" And think about that in Hong Kong. How many parents will say this? Right? So I think he is sort of breaking a new path for someone who's born in Hong Kong, who kind of realized two dreams in a way. That's how I see it. So I think it's a special meaning that he's bringing this exhibition to Hong Kong. certainly to HKUST. I'm very happy to see that. In fact, I have a column, as many of you know, in Singdo and Zhongzhaohuan, and I wrote a column. So it appeared this 2 days ago. Today is what? When? Thursday? 2 days ago, on Tuesday. And I thought, it would be the only one, in the popular press. So today, I opened South China Morning Post. I barely had time to. I usually just read the first section, but this time I went to the second section. On the cover is a picture of Tinman with this exhibition. So I didn't even know there was a interview with you from the South China Morning Post. So I think I've said enough. I do want to recognize a few people, since we have all your attention. I want to recognize Tinman's parents who are here, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, right here, and where's her father? Yeah. As proud as I am of Tinman, I'm sure they are even more proud of him. I want to recognize Diana, who's a director of our library, who's responsible for putting this out. And many of his staff were involved in doing this. I want to also recognize a special guest today. Yes, this is Mr. Wang Haoman. Some of you may or may not know Haoman. He's a nature photographer, but he also much more than that. He's an explorer. He used to work for National Geographic. Many of the photograph you see. In fact, that's how I got to know him, right? But hey, there's like a Hong Kong name. When you have WON, you gotta be from Hong Kong. Okay. So it turns out we have some common friends, but we have never met until this exhibition. Because him and asked me, who else in Hong Kong interested in this kind of thing? I said, well, I thought about, so that's how we met. And Haoman has an interesting organization called the China Exploration Society. So he's around, so you can talk to him. So, okay, too many people to recognize. I think those are some of the key people. Thomas, yeah, okay. So PTC, there's a book, right? And you see, it's like a coffee table book, beautiful with this picture, all produced, managed, I would say, okay? Some produced at HKUST. So we actually can produce beautiful books. And I already have a few copies I'm going to send to some potential donors. Okay. All right. So please stay, enjoy the exhibition. Is there a reception or something like that? Some drinks? Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Now, could I call upon Professor Wei Shi, Executive Vice President and Provost of HKUST.
Good afternoon. I'm here mainly as a photographer. Okay, nothing to do with my university responsibility, because as Tony mentioned, he introduced, I think, me to him. When I first saw the pictures, I was impressed. Okay. And so even though he was a former student of our president, I decided we should invite him. So it's not Tony's idea; it's my idea. Okay, so I think just for the sake of transparency. Okay. But I have to say that for this kind of picture to be taken, it's more than just talent. Okay? You really have to have the dedication, and also to have the quickness. And it's clear that Timon has spent many of his days, weekends, probably mostly consumed by chasing some of these beasts. Okay? And I don't know whether he sneak out during work days or not. I'm not going to ask him. Okay. But last time I asked him, he didn't have a girlfriend yet. Okay, so you can see the sacrifice this has made. I hope, speaking for his parents, probably the situation should change soon. But I just like to, in particular, bring that picture on the other side. Okay, that's the picture I have looked at many times. Okay, and that's the one I actually personally I feel most impressed. If you look at the bear with all the water droplets and the paws and the nails, okay, I've noticed that at least from the angle, the two paws, the nails are not symmetric, and the one with a little bit red color, the other one, right? I think everything is vividly displayed there. And some of the picture I know that when he took, like Tony said, it's literally very close. to the bear. Somebody else had to help him with the gun, just in case. Okay, this is not for people just to have a casual interest to do this. Okay, this really is a very serious pursuit. And the other thing I like to say is for one thing I have observed, and some of you have probably have watched, is a movie called The Big Ear about doing bird counting. Okay, that's exaggerated because people try to elbow each other out, trying to gain advantage. But people I have met who love this kind of hobby, photography. I have seen many of them. They really are more than willing to share, because this is really for us to enjoy together. And this is really, I think, the best spirit. Okay, on the one hand, you see the natural spirit, all this energy, and we think that are very short time as impulse and vividly displayed. The other is for all of us to share, even though we are in this air-conditioned room. Okay, so I think on this, I'd like to thank Tim for his art and for what he has accomplished. Not to mention that he's from Hong Kong originally, as we know. Okay, congratulations.
Now, may I present our artist, Dr. Tim Lee, to you? Dr. Lee, please.
Hello. I'm extremely honored to be here today. I remember that the last time I gave a talk next to Professor Chan was 7 years ago when I was in a conference room at UCLA doing my final defense. So it is pretty stressful. I still have to pinch my face the whole day today because when I was walking this morning from the conference lodge down here, I see all the familiar pictures that I have taken, all the animals that I have known for the last few years. All of a sudden, they were all here. And I thought I was in dreams. So there are so many people I want to thank. I want to thank Professor Tony Chan. He is a world leader in image processing. And I would have never knew that image processing would be so useful for wildlife photography. About 6 years ago, when I started doing wildlife photography, I started to travel, and then I started to look at a lot of magazines and books on how people, after they capture the shot, how do you retrieve the data from the image so that you show what exactly where you saw them in the wilderness. And a lot of those techniques I actually learned from Professor Chan. A lot of the image filtering, how do you handle the noise and all, and I have to thank him for that. And I want to thank Professor Wei Shi. He is such an inspiration. He is, I don't know if you guys probably know, he is a world leader in aerodynamics and flight simulation. And with this passion, he also developed his, he is a renowned photographer in birds in flight. And I still remember when we first talked about it, he showed me his ebook on bird photography. And a lot of the bird photographers right here would know, once we saw some pictures, we would know how good they are. And once I saw that, I said, how do you get some of those pictures in flight? And so combining the domain expertise and the passion together to bring out the best of both worlds are really some inspiration and big role model for me. So I thank Professor Shi for that. And so I also want to thank the library, Diana's leadership, and I want to thank Alice. I don't know, where is Alice? Oh, Alice is right here. Oh, God. So the last 8 months, I have been working nonstop with Alice, and I came from Los Angeles. So basically, I got home from work at about 6 p.m. and I started to log in to talk to Hong Kong because that's about the time, about 9 a.m. in Hong Kong. And then I will work with her to work on the files and the printing, the design and everything until probably 4 or 5 a.m. And then I'll go to, so I haven't really slept in the last 3 months, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So you can see a lot of bear sleeping because that's what I dream about. And I want to thank PTC, the Publishing Technology Center, Thomas and his crew, amazing crew. They have, in world record time, they published a beautiful book that you guys should all buy it. This is, the photography book has become my favorite book of my life, even though I'm a little bit biased. But they have all the pictures here with all the stories. And they have also created a beautiful, beautiful videos, video interview of me that in a bit of time they will show it to you. There are 4 or 5 videos of me talking about my childhood, why I got interested in photography. But if I had known that I would be in videos, I would not eat so many donuts and caramel ice blended in the US, and I would slim down probably 20 pounds, and I would try to speak in a much lower pitch, more magnetic voice in the video. You see that. So of course, I want to thank my parents here. And there are also a lot of people I want to thank. Without them, I would not be here today. I want to thank Mr. Howard and Mrs. Norma Lee. I received their scholarship so that I got to go to the United States. And I want to thank Professor James Tong. He selected me to win that scholarship. Otherwise, I would never been able to go to the US. And I want to thank Dr. Jeff Bass. He's been my mentor, together with Professor Chen. Even though I have been working in the US, you would be surprised that the support from Hong Kong has never stopped. So I always ask him advice on my life and my career, but not about girlfriend, though, now that Professor Shi has revealed my biggest secret now. And because I already fall in love with the animals. So I mean, there are so many great people to thank. I mean, Edwin and all the library crew. They have become my good friends in the last few months. Probably will become lifetime friends. And there are something that I want to talk about them, because by working with them, I see not only doing a great job, but I see passion. I see professionalism. I see that they are all going out of the box, going outside the box. They're going all out to help me. I will see emails from Alice and Thomas at 2 a.m. their time, not my time, and replying to a lot of my requests. And then we go. So we basically learn it together to try to improve the quality of so you can see in the printing. I have to say that these prints, because I had a picture, I was very fortunate to win the Windland Smith Rice International Nature Space Award. And I saw the picture displayed in the Smithsonian Museum, and I have to tell all of you that the quality is as good as Smithsonian. So I'm really proud to say that, and I thank you for that. So I started photography, as Professor Chen also said, that he didn't even know I was in photography, because when I was doing my PhD with him, I haven't even started photography. So he had never known about it. And to photograph the nature was really just for my own pure happiness. It's a very selfish reason that I went out, instead of watching TVs at home in the weekends or after work, I would go out to take pictures, and all of a sudden I saw myself face to face with some 800-pound, 7-feet tall bears in the ice cold water, or I would be in high altitude getting sickness, or I would be having dehydration, all kind of things I have never known. But because of that, all of a sudden I received some awards, and the awards is less of a thing, but more importantly, I hope that these pictures and these stories, I hope you guys can pay attention to the story or look into the animals, so that you will feel the same way as what I do to these animals. You will fall in love with them, and you would also start to appreciate and conserve the environment like I do. And so I thank you all for your coming, and so 多謝晒各位親朋好友，好多親戚朋友喺好遠嘅地方過嚟，我非常之感激。So thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy the photos.
Now it is time for ribbon cutting. May I now invite our officiating guests to come forward? Professor Chen and Dr. Lee, our artist, Professor Wei Shi, Miss Diana Chen. As introduced by our president, she is a university librarian of HKUST. And also Thomas Ng, Director of Publishing Technology Center of HKUST. Before cutting the ribbon, let's take a group photo first. 3, 2, 1. Thank you all. To express our gratitude to Dr. Lee, we have prepared the souvenir for him. President Chen is presenting the souvenir. It is a USB flash drive holding 5 video clips produced by HKUST for Dr. Lee's exhibition. Before we conclude today's ceremony, let's watch a video about Dr. Lee's wildlife photography.
My name is Tin Man Lee. I'm a biomedical engineer. Currently, I'm working in the US managing a medical imaging center. I love wildlife and wildlife photography. I have been to Alaska many times, which is my favorite place, and I also love to travel to Yellowstone National Park, Colorado, and Florida. One thing I love about wildlife photography is because wildlife in the wilderness, there is no acting. They are not following any script. Everything is real. It's all about life and death. It is something that is very precious because nowadays everything is fabricated, and if you can capture something that is very true, it has a very strong values that you can touch people, you can touch the emotion, you can change people. I started my love of wild animals when I was a kid. I still remember my parents used to bring me out to the botanical gardens every weekend. And I would walk around there looking at the animals, and I started to fall in love with them. Ooh. When we go to school, we have exams, and we finish the exams, we go into graduate school, and then we go to work. Along the way, a lot of us forget our childhood dream, and I'm one of them. Because it's just that when life kicks in, you forget. But then the love really never disappears. About 7 years ago, when I went to work, all of a sudden I have certain vacation. Where do I want to go? I want to go to the national parks. And then I started to purchase maybe a simple point and shoot camera in the beginning. When I capture some picture, suddenly my love of nature was rekindled. And then I suddenly remember all the love that I have been having with the wild animals. So I started to go dig deeper, and I started to get more serious, and my childhood dream was realized, and I was able to go back to the wilderness and meet all these wild animals again. There's a lot of difference between watching the animals in a zoo, in a cage, versus watching the animals in the wilderness. In the cage, you can feel that they are not really happy. And the more I photograph the wild animals in nature, when I see them having freedom, when I look into their eyes, I can see that they are very lively. I think that's a huge difference. My main reason that not only I want to capture the survival of the animals, but I also want to capture the mother-baby behavior is that a lot of the common belief of human being is that animals, they don't have feelings. They just go through the circle of life every day. But through many trips in the wilderness, I have witnessed not only once, but many times how the mother's unconditional love protecting their youngs, risking their life. From those, when I capture moments like this, it gives me great perspective of changing how we see wild animals. They are not just animals, they have feelings, they have love, and I hope that I can send this message to the viewers so that they can start to care about the environment, they can care about the wild animals. Well, there are two main things that I learned from wildlife photography in the last 5 years. The first thing is, since the wild animals, they are wild and the wild places are less and less, so to find them is very difficult. For example, when I went to Alaska to look for the bears hunting for salmon, I spent 6 days without seeing a bear. And in those days, every day it was raining really hard. And you keep questioning yourself, is it worth it? Is it gonna be a complete failure? And through those questioning and reflection of your life, it kind of tell myself how much obstacles I can handle in those situations and never lose faith. And wildlife in the wilderness, it is a question of life and death. All the animals, they are under a lot of threat from predators and they are always struggling to find food. Through observing them in the wilderness and seeing how they run from dangers or how they get food, how they use the senses, it really gives me a perspective of how much we take for granted in our daily lives. Life is very difficult for the wild animals. Their habitat is disappearing in a rapid way, so I learned a lot to appreciate what I have through wildlife photography. I once heard a wise man said that everybody needs a hobby, but I really want to continue what I love to do instead of having other things to affect my photography. So I'll continue to keep going to places where I want to photograph the animals and keep taking pictures that I love. And hopefully with more opportunities, more people can be touched by the beauty of the nature.